Good afternoon, grade 11s. Welcome to our business studies. We are still doing creative thinking and problem solving, grade 11s. And this is our 6th lesson. I am Hector S. Nkosi, and I'll be taking you for this period for grade 11 business studies. All right. As you know, boys and girls, that each and every chapter, you need to have learning outcomes. What are learning outcomes? Learning outcomes are the things that you need to know or to do at the end of a certain chapter or at the end of each and every chapter. Now, boys and girls, we have done majority of these things. Today, we are finishing off this chapter, and basically, we'll be touching at few things that are left from this chapter. We have covered majority of the stuff here. We have covered creative thinking. We have covered the routine versus creative thinking. We have covered the conventional versus non-conventional solutions. We have also covered how to stimulate creative thinking. We also covered the benefits or advantages of creative thinking in a workplace. We have defined problem solving. However, today we are starting from here. That's where we are starting, where we explain, the meaning of a Delphi force analysis. That's where we are today. We touched a little bit of Delphi and a force field analysis yesterday, but today I want us to go deep on Delphi technique and the force field analysis. We'll also be looking at a Delphi and force fields analysis from a given scenario or case study. So you need to be able to tell whether it's the force field analysis or a Delphi technique from a given scenario or case study. You know, in business studies, we deal with lots and lots of case studies and scenarios. You also need to be able from today to explain the advantage of working with others to solve a problem. Meaning when you work with a group of people or sometimes you can do a problem solving alone, but I want us to look at how can we look a problem solving with a group. You also need to be able to interview a business and find out about the following aspects. This is more of a general knowledge, but we're going to touch on it today also if we still have time. All right, boys and girls, basically this is what we'll be finishing off today, your Delphi technique, force field analysis, and your problem solving with other people. And I'll be taking questions if there are any questions. Okay. Let's continue. All right. Just want to check something. Welcome to those who are just joining us. You can see people are there. Welcome, boys and girls. All right. So this is where we ended yesterday. So yesterday we ended at the ways in which business can apply the Delphi technique in a workplace. So basically we need to know how to apply the Delphi technique in a workplace. We know that, guys, that businesses must invite a panel of experts to research the complaints from customers, right? So the business must invite a panel of experts. Remember, experts are people who are familiar with whatever you want them to scrutinize or to look at. If someone says I'm an expert of driving motorbikes, which means that person knows how to drive motorbikes from A up to Z. If someone says I'm an expert of cooking biryani, which means that person he or she is good at it, basically, or he or she is good at cooking biryani. The experts do not have to be in one place and will not be contacted individually. So while the experts, they should not be in one place, basically. They cannot be in one place. Right. The expert must also design a questionnaire consisting of questions how to improve the quality of their tiles and distribute it to the panel or members or experts, right? So we have to design what? A questionnaire. Right. Hope everything is making sense so far, boys and girls. Right. Oops, sorry. I've messed up. Oh, shucks. What am I doing? Sorry, guys. I'm looking for my eraser so that I can erase this. Okay, perfect. Highlighter. All right. So this is what the Delphi technique means, basically. Or this is how we apply the Delphi technique in a workplace. Also, under Delphi technique, we need to request the panel individually, respond to the questionnaires or suggest improvements to the product, and return to the business. So we need to request the panel of experts to individually, each expert basically must respond to the questionnaire or suggest improvements to the products and return it to the business. So the expert must suggest the improvements. Or the expert must what? Must respond to the questionnaire that the people have answered. Must respond to the questionnaire, basically. Right, boys and girls. Also now, you must be able to summarize the responses from the expert. So summarize responses from the experts in a feedback report, basically. Send the feedback report and second set questions or questionnaires based on the feedback report to the member of panels. So you must do a second set afterwards of the questions or questionnaires. Right. So boys and girls, this is what Delphi means, or this is how we apply Delphi technique in a working environment or in a workplace. That's what Delphi means. Right. Another way where we can look at Delphi technique, we must also request panel members to provide further input or ideas. Further inputs or ideas. On how to improve the quality of their tiles after they have studied or studied the results documentation. You must also distribute a third questionnaire based on the previous feedback from the second round. So you must also design the third questionnaire. So you've got the first questionnaire, second questionnaire, and a third questionnaire. So this is how you structure your Delphi technique, or this is how you use your Delphi technique. After your third questionnaire, you must prepare a final summary. So you can only do a final summary after the third questionnaire. You'll see when we do questions, the application of Delphi. For now, it's just theory. So you must prepare a final summary of feedback report with all the methods to improve the quality of product. So basically in that final, you must have what? You must have your first questionnaire, second questionnaire. Remember each and every after questionnaire, you must write a report. So you must prepare that final report and put all the methods that you have used. That's your Delphi technique. Choose the best solution or proposal after reaching the consensus. Choose the best solution. Sorry, looking for an eraser. Right? Let's choose the best solution. Basically, boys and girls. Right. Okay. This is your Delphi, boys and girls. They love this question in an exam. They do ask it majority of the time, sometimes not majority, but some of the times they do ask the Delphi technique in a workplace. Please, guys, do not cram this, but just understand what's happening. Therefore, everything will make sense. All right. Now, let's look at our force field analysis. Force field analysis. Remember, Delphi technique, it's also like an analysis. It's a technique that we use. So now there's an analysis that we also use that is being called force field. Now, the meaning of the force field analysis is the method of listing, discussing, and analyzing the various forces for advantages and against disadvantages of a proposed change. So here we list, we discuss, in analyzing various forces for advantage and against disadvantage of a proposed change. It is often used for planning and implementation change in a business. Very important. Things that are more important, I do them with red. Is used for planning and implementation change. Very important, guys. That's where you use your force field. And today we're going to learn how do we apply the force field as we've learned how to apply the Delphi technique. Very important, boys and girls. Right. That's your force field analysis. Okay. Please, guys, do not forget this, that this, it's for planning. If you want to plan your business, you must apply your force field. Or let's say you want to implement change. Let's say, for example, in your business, you want to change the logo. Let's say, as you can see, the STEAM digital school logo has changed, right? It was not like this around March, April, and May when we started the school, right? But now it has changed. So they've used the force field analysis to implement change, you know. And also now majority of the things here, they have changed and stuff like that. We have used the force field, and now we're going to look or see how to analyze or how to do the force field basically. The analysis involves identifying the advantages and disadvantages of the decision. This tool is especially useful to overcome resistance to change. So it's very useful to overcome what? Resistance to change. If you resist to change, this tool will come in handy. All right. Let's carry on, boys and girls. Now, this is your application of your force field, meaning that how would you apply the force field in order for you to implement or change whatever, right? So how can the business apply the force field? And guys, this will also help you in your studies in general. Because remember, we said it's used for planning and implementation. Let's say we want to plan for your exams, you can use your force field. So it does not work for businesses only, it works in other scenarios. Let's say you want to implement something, let's say your marks are dropping, therefore you want to implement change, you will use force field also. But now we're looking at it in a business context, basically. So, how can you apply the force field to this analysis? You must describe the current situation or problem and the desired solution. So, what is the problem? And how can you solve that problem? That's your solution. Right. Identify what is going to happen if there is no action. What is going to happen? What is going to happen if there is no action? List all driving pros and restraining cons, forces that will support and restrict change. So you must list all your pros and cons, things that are going to make it happen and the factors that are not going to make happen. So you must list the your pros and your cons that will support and resist change. Right. Discuss the key restraining force and determine their strength. So you must discuss basically your cons, the things that will not make it not to happen. Those are your restraining forces. You must list them and discuss them and determine their strength, meaning what's the influence making them not to work. That's their strength. Here, you must discuss the driving force. Those are your pros, good things, your driving force, right? And determine their strength that will make them to happen. The strengths for restraint forces are the things that will make it not to happen, right? Because already a restraint forces, it's a bad thing, not a bad thing, but something that cannot happen. Allocate a score to each force using a numerical scale. Using a numerical scale, meaning in other words, allocate a score. So you must allocate a score to each force. That's where you do your final decision. Right? Where 1 is weak and 5 is strong. So you need to allocate, right? For each force and say, okay, restraining force, you must rate, right? You must rate all their forces. Rate. Then you go to your driving forces, you must rate them, then total for both and see which one that gives you the higher score. If, let's say, the driving force gives you the highest score, therefore you're going to go with the driving force for that particular problem. Does it make sense, guys? I hope it makes sense. I love the force analysis. Basically, if we were to do a practical example about the force analysis, let's say like now, you are not doing well at school, your marks have dropped drastically. Now you want to know that's the problem and how are you going to solve the situation? That's the situation and the problem, right? Then you must identify what's going to happen if the action is not taken. Obviously, if the action is not taken accordingly, you might end up repeating the grade, right? So you don't want that. So you will list things that will make you to pass, and the things that will not make you to pass, but the ones that you still need to do. Therefore, you must list the ones that will not make you to pass. Going to a party, playing games, visiting a friend, going to a gym. Let's say you also play soccer. Um, let's say if you're a boy or a girl, you're going to see your girlfriend or your boyfriend, or you spend more time to those people. You must list everything. Then you must list your driving forces and determine their strength, right? So your driving forces will be good things that will make you to pass. Um, Attend extra lessons at school. Um, Also do extra questions. Let's say if you're struggling in maths or what physical science or accounting, you must do extra lessons and you must practice almost every day. Maybe you can also attend a private tuition center. You can seek help from your friends. You can put more time into your studying. Um, you can buy a study guide to help you. You can download lots of past papers and stuff like that. Therefore, now you have discussed all your forces, right? And their strength, right? Now you have to score each force. So let's start from the restraining force. Remember, you used to go to the gym, you used to go see your girlfriend, you used to go play tennis, um, you used to play TV games, you used to go do whatever things that is not school related. Now you have to rate or score each of those, whether in the scale of 1 to 5, are they important or not? For gym, even though it's a restraining force, but it might be important for your well-being, for your health. So you can rate it out of 5. But the other ones, going to visit your girlfriend, you can rate it out of 2. It's not a must, it's just a need, maybe others you can rate them at 1 1 1. Then you must total everything. Coming to a driving force, let's say driving force, buying a study guide it's a necessity in order for you to pass the relevant subject. You're going to give it 5. Let's say going to a tuition, it will be a necessity. 5 5 5. Can you see the driving forces, its total score will be more higher compared to the restraining force. Let's say the driving force gives you 42 score, then the restraining force gives you 15. Obviously, you're going to go with the highest one, of which is 42. Therefore, you must go for a driving force. Now, it's not always that a your driving force will always overrides your restraining force. Sometimes your restraining force does sometimes overrides your driving force. No wonder we use your force field analysis. Right. So majority of the businesses, they do that to weigh options or to make decisions about their business. Right. Sometimes they do apply the force field analysis. And as I said to you guys, it does not apply to businesses only. It can apply to you also as an individual. It can apply to any situation, your force field analysis. Right. So after that, you must weigh up positive and negative, then decide if the project is viable. Also analyze the restraining forces and the best way of advancing them. You must also explore driving forces and the best way of advancing them. This is what I've explained earlier on. Choose the force with the highest score. Very important. Choose the force, choose force with the highest score as your solution. That's what I've explained earlier on. Basically, if the project is viable, find ways to increase the forces for change. Also, you must identify priorities and develop an action plan. Right. Now, let's look at the advantages of working with others to solve problem. We are done with our Delphi technique, and we've also looked at our force field analysis in a workplace. Now, how can we solve problems when we are working with others? What are the good things? You know, guys, if we are a group, we've got different thinking and different minds. Therefore, I can learn something from you, you can learn something from me. And also, it's easy to find the solution or to solve the problem if we are many. Whereas when you are alone, it's difficult, you know. So the problem can be solved faster and easy. Those are the benefits of working with others to solve problems. Workload decreases. We will delegate duties here. We'll say, okay, person A, you'll research about that. Person B, you'll research about that. Person C, you'll do that. Person D, you'll also do that. Right? So the workload decreases. Whereas when you're alone, you have to solve the problem alone. It might take you time and it might be longer and it might be heavy to you also. So when you solve a problem as a team, basically workload decreases because each person will focus on something, not everything. More ideas, very important. I said greater minds think alike. So it's more ideas can be generated in increasing the chances of finding the best possible solutions. Explore to other people's thinking patterns and to weigh other people approach problems. Also, you must be able to, it enables teams members to learn from others. So we also learn from others. Exciting. We also learn from others and accept their point of view, basically. Right. These are the advantages of working with other people to solve problems. All right, boys and girls, more of the advantages, we get greater results. Can be achieved. Team members have access to a broader base of knowledge, skills, and expertise. The problem is viewed from a different perspective. We've got different perspective, basically. That's what it means. Problem can be viewed different perspective. There is an access to a broad base of knowledge, skills, and expertise. Problems are analyzed in greater detail, which lead to better understanding of the problem. Also, it promotes creative thinking. And idea generation by thinking as many ideas as possible to solve the problem. All right, boys and girls, thank you so much for tuning in today. Should you have any questions, please feel free to always email me at ngosihector28@gmail.com. I'm more than welcome to answer your emails. We as a STEAM Digital School Grade 11s, we are here to help you and to save your lives. So please do the right thing and study hard. You are almost left with a year and a half to get your matric certificate, to be an adult and go explore the world. From my side, I say thank you and have an awesome evening. Goodbye.